Sixth phase, and this is the important part because this is where we are right now. 2016 onwards, the phase is called the phase of total confrontation. You wonder why the pace is picking up. You wonder why the attacks are increasing, in particular in places like Western Europe. That's why, because we're in the phase of total confrontation. All right, paralleling and really side by side with that Al-Qaeda 7-phase plan is the Muslim Brotherhood's phases of the underground movement. Now, this is the name of a document that was seized from the Alexandria, Virginia townhouse of a senior Muslim Brotherhood member whose name was Ismail Barassi. And the FBI raided his home in 2004 after a traffic stop on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. You might know this story. His wife, in full hijab, was leaning out the window filming the support structures of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Alert police in a cruiser behind them, noticed, stopped them. Long story short, they raided the townhouse, found the archives of the Muslim Brotherhood in America. Well, this is one of those documents that was in that hall out of that Annandale, Virginia townhouse, and I will only focus on one of the phases from that document. By the way, all of these documents are online. They're in English. Phase 4, in any case, open public confrontation with the government through exercising the political pressure approach. This is not just about Western Europe. This is about right here, right now in the United States. Let's move on. I want to mention this document that was published only online. I don't know that it was ever published in any kind of a hard copy, but it's online. Management of Savagery. It was published in 2004, posted by an Al-Qaeda operative. And this document talks about how to manage the phase which is the collapse of society after that collapse has been achieved, in order that those who have caused the collapse can be come out on top on the other side. That's what management of savagery is about. Managing the intermediate phase, if you will, of the collapse of society, such that on the other side of it, they're in charge, they're in command, and they get to do what they want to do with that society. Okay, we have moved now from the kinetic, the violent, to the civilization jihad, which is what we sometimes refer to as pre-violent, because the violence is always there, the threat is always there, the final push will always be violent. So here is another one of these documents that was seized, this time not in Virginia, but this document was seized in the aftermath of 9/11. In late 2001, I should say, shortly after 9/11 in the United States, and it was seized from the villa in Switzerland of one of the key founders and senior members of the Muslim Brotherhood, Yusuf Nada. Yusuf Nada, by the way, was the founder of something else called the Al-Taqwa Bank, which funded both Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood. And oh, by the way, you think Sunnis and Shiites never get together? They never work together? The Al-Taqwa Bank, Yusuf Nada, also funded the stay of the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini in the Chateau Neuf outside of Paris in the very final months of his exile from Iran before he went back to Iran in 1979 to start the revolution there. That plane trip back home again for the Ayatollah Khomeini, who funded it? Yusuf Nada did. Muslim Brotherhood did. So just tuck that away as a fun fact. So this document that's come to be known as the Project, it's a master plan, if you will. It's a 14-page long plan. It's been translated. It was in Arabic. It outlines a 12-point strategy to, quote, establish an Islamic government on earth. What do we call that? A caliphate, or maybe an imamate if you're Shiite, but an Islamic state. The plan is detailed, it's flexible, multi-phased. It's a long-term approach to the cultural invasion of the West. And here we come to the actual definition of what civilization jihad really is. Again, at the bottom of this slide, two different styles of really what is the same logo. That is the logo of the Muslim Brotherhood. What's in the project, this document they took out of that villa in Switzerland? Well, It talks about networking and coordination with other groups. Remember what I said about Sunnis and Shiites? Yes, they do work together. Avoiding an open alliance with terror groups so that that can't be pinned on them, at least not in this phase of the jihad. Using deception to mask the intended goals. Financial networks must be established to fund the work. They need to conduct surveillance, obtain and store data about that surveillance, cultivate Islamic intellectual society, social networks of ostensibly charitable organizations like hospitals and clinics and schools and orphanages. Get Muslims into government, NGOs, that's non-governmental organizations, private organizations, and labor groups, unions. This is in their plan. We have it. It's in English. Alliances with, quote, progressive groups. Yes, they wrote that. The Muslim Brotherhood wrote that. We have that. We know that. And then finally, preaching, propaganda, funding for jihad. That's not the entire list, but it is certainly representative for us here tonight.